Hey guys, MuJK here. I'm going to talk about an upcoming banner, a couple of new free characters that we're going to get, and the raid event. So let's go right into it. It's going to be a little bit of a different format. I'm not going to go into the wiki. I'm not going to go skill by skill and explain everything. I'm trying something new, I guess, but there were some criticisms I read a while back on Reddit, not particularly with me, but in general, like people saying, "Oh, why did people make videos and they just sit there reading the wiki? What's the point of doing that?" And I think part of it, for me at least, was as I read through it, as I'm making the video, I'm going line by line or whatever. Sometimes I actually think of things on the spot, and it kind of stirs a little bit more discussion on that topic or whatever. And people like to see it sometimes with their own eyes, but they don't want to have to go out of their way to go to a website. They'd rather just watch a video. So there are various reasons to do it, but in this video, I'm just gonna kind of rattle it off my brain and see how that works. So anyway, we're getting the People's Choice banner, which is really exciting for a lot of people. These were voted on by people on the Facebook page, I believe, and there's two of every rarity, like two base 5 stars, which are Noctis and Gilgamesh, two base 4 stars, Chizuru and Refia, and two base 3 stars, Cecil and Zidane. And pretty much this entire banner, with the possible exception of Refia, kind of have really good TMs. So like there's kind of something in it for everybody, unless you've already gotten these characters a while ago, farmed up their TMs, which is a little bit of my situation, honestly. But there's so much here for everybody, especially for people who are trying to catch up. So with Noctis, you are getting the best overall unit. He has a ton of abilities, like so much utility. I'm not going to go into detail because these have already been covered. These are all characters that have been in the game for a while. They're not new. But in my opinion, he's still the best character in the game in global, and he has an awesome Trustmaster reward as well. Gilgamesh, his Trustmaster reward Genji Glove is probably number one, if not, tied with Dual Wield, depending on how you like to outfit your heroes. But it grants you Dual Wield and also has a little bit of a stat boost with it, and he's also a great attacker in his own right. Chizuru is a great attacker, but mostly she's known for really good chaining. If you have two of her, and especially if you put on elemental weapons like a wind katana, you can really have crazy chain multipliers and damage boosting. And her blade mastery TM is one of the best as well. You get a 50% boost to your attack overall when you equip a katana. Well, that's 50% to your base attack, and that can be buffed up with pots as well. Refia is still considered by many, including myself, as the best healer in global, and she has a pretty good Trustmaster reward for healers, but it's not like high priority. Healers do just fine without this kind of stuff, but she is a really good healer. Cecil is, in my opinion, still the best tank in the game. People will argue that there's like White Knight Noel and other tanks that tank better, but in terms of what one unit brings to the table, I mean, he brings healing, tanking, like the Curaja, and especially if you have dual cast on him, it's just really useful in a lot of fights, so I think he's still the best. And he has Excalibur as a TM, great sword, a great sword. And then there's Zidane, who is here because his TM dual wield is pretty much meta. Like almost everybody should have the dual wield by now, unless you just started the game. But if you don't, then this is a great way to catch up by snagging a bunch of these. Theoretically, he should be easy to get because he's a base 3-star, unless they mess with the rates on purpose. So, and he is not useful as a unit other than to steal, but his dual wield TM is the reason you want him. So that's the People's Choice banner. Actually, why don't I go into the raid event first? So March on Ifrit. This is going to be like our first true legit raid event. We kind of had one for the winter, but this is like really legit. And what I mean by that is there's like separate raid orbs or whatever that you use to do the raid event. You don't have to use your energy. It's a totally separate thing. You're going to challenge this boss, and as you kill him, it kind of like makes him respawn as a stronger boss. You keep fighting him over and over, getting more points and then gaining more of the currency, which is raid coins. And with those raid coins, you can buy these raid free units that we'll discuss in just a bit, as well as these other prizes like Trust Moogles, Cactuars, and so forth. So a lot of cool stuff here. There's also going to be ranking rewards, and if you were around for that winter raid event, you'll know that there was one guy at the top who was just going nuts, and he was doubling everybody else's score. I'd be curious to see if he's going to do that again, but I mean, if you're going for rank 1, you're not doing it for the prizes. I mean, it's not going to be worth it for all the lapis you have to use, but it's really like a pride thing. I think most people will be shooting for like top 1,000 or so. And you know, the prizes are like, they're just summon tickets. So even if you like drop down a tier from like top 1,000 to top 10,000, you're only losing a ticket. So it's not like a big deal. But I'm going to be farming as much as possible, not for the ranking, but to try to get these characters and so forth. So Y'shtola is going to be like your best free healer in the game, and again, we'll talk in more detail in just a bit. But what you can also get from this event is recipes for these really great character specific gear. You can get a nice staff, a nice robe, and these things are like better than what you can get in the game normally. They're like between what you get for free and TMs. They're not as good as TMs, but they're really good. So this definitely is worth farming for anybody who's going to use Y'shtola. Here's Minfilia's equipment. This sword looks like it's really low attack, but as you'll see in a bit, she's not really about dealing damage. She's really more of a support. So, you know, HP MP is kind of like the most important stat to me, and the defensive spirit helps as well. So yeah, you're just trying to keep her alive and keep her safe as she supports your party. And then there's Tancred, who has a pretty decent sword actually, attacks plus 70 and some decent gears, but he is a max 5-star, so there's limited potential there. And so that brings us to this raid summon banner, which is the first of its kind in this global version. Basically, these are all going to be free characters that you can pay for with the raid coins. And to get it out of the way up front, they're surprisingly good for what they are. I mean, the fact that they're pretty much on par with a lot of other banners is really impressive. So free-to-play players are going to love this. So again, without going skill by skill into the wiki, and let me know what you think in the comments about that. Y'shtola is a really good healer, and I would say that, you know, as a stock character, if you compare her with Refia, she would actually be better because she comes with her own dual cast, which I believe, yeah, it's called Presence of Mind, use magic twice in one turn. But she has her own innate dual cast, which kind of puts her ahead of Refia. She has, you know, all the basic stuff like Curaja, Asuna. She has regular raise instead of full life, so that's her biggest downfall when you're comparing against Refia. But again, because she has dual cast, I mean, that really puts her over the top. Dual casting Curaja, you can dual cast raise, you can cast a raise and then a Curaja. A lot of cool possibilities, and then she's also able to fully recover HP for one ally, which in today's meta is actually becoming pretty important because you'll have Cecils out there with like 7,000, 9,000 HP. Curaja is really not cutting it anymore, so you want to be able to fully recover that ally without using elixirs all the time. And then there's also this interesting skill here, boost magic and reduce spirit for caster. This basically turns her from a healer to an offensive caster, and she has a few Aga spells like Eroga, one other one I think. So if you choose to go that route, you know, she's a little bit versatile in that way. But overall, she's the best stock healer in the game. Once you get dual cast materia from the Ludmill TM, then I believe Refia is still number one. Dual casting full life is just really powerful. But if you don't have dual cast, then Y'shtola is going to be the best healer for you. Really awesome. And her TM is just like boosting spirit and defense by 20% each when you equip these things. So, you know, pretty good standard stuff for a healer. Not really powerful or anything. Minfilia is a support character. Her Trust Must Reward boosts all elemental resistances by 10%. I don't know if that's really worth the slot, but I mean, it's situational. But she's basically a green mage. She's better than Sirius, not as good as 5-star base Marie. Or is it Maria? No, it's Marie. She's not as good as Marie, but she has basically bar-aga level spells for all of the elements individually. So she can raise your resistance to any element by 70%, one at a time, but still it's really good. And if you have dual cast materia, or TM. You can put that on her and cover 2 elements at a time in 1 turn. Really powerful stuff there. So anybody who didn't get Marie, like myself, this is a really good alternative to that. She can really trivialize some fights for you. And on top of the bar-aga level spells, she's also able to nullify some status ailments. And another interesting thing is that she's able to boost any stat by 100% to a single target. So let's say you have like kind of a lopsided team. You have like 4 regular dudes, but you have 1 really powerful TM'd out attacker. You can boost that attacker's attack by 100% as opposed to like the normal support of like 40-45%, and really boost your DPS that way. Or if you had like a really good mage with like 700 plus magic, you could boost that magic by 100%, go that route. So there's some cool possibilities with this character. Again, as a free character, really, really great. And I'm probably definitely going to use her in certain fights, especially against certain elemental bosses. And Y'shtola is the same way, really good mage as well. And then we have Thancred, who is unfortunately a max 5-star. He's a really cool character, and these are all Final Fantasy 14 characters, by the way. He's a really cool character, but unfortunately he's limited in that way. His Trust Master reward is not much better than something you would find at King Mog's shop. It boosts HP and attack by 10%. Not good, or not great, but it's could be useful for some people because he is going to be relatively easy to get. I would say that for people who are just starting out and you want to kind of try your hand in Arena, he's actually a pretty good cheap Arena unit because he has natural evasion, which is very important in Arena, and then he also has an AoE attack that I think is 1.8 multiplier, which is good for AoE, and it also has a 50% chance to poison all enemies, so pretty good budget Arena unit there for new players. Overall, though, you're not really going to be using them too much. I think if we follow the Japan prices, which is probably unlikely, they change things all the time. I think in Japan, he costed like 20,000 raid coins. Minfilia costed about 200,000, so 10 times as much. And then Y'shtola cost 600,000. So even if it's not exactly the same for global, it kind of gives you an idea of their relative value. But anyway, the fact that these guys are free and at least 2 of the 3 are very useful, very exciting stuff, and I can't wait to get them. So anyway, that's all I had to say about this. Let me know what you thought about me not delving into the wiki. Some people like it, some people don't, but I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out there, and hopefully that was useful. I know there's already a lot of content, a lot of videos out. I couldn't put it out yesterday because I was snowed in with the family, but hopefully this is still useful for some of you guys. And I'll catch you next time.